For the fifth time, Amos found himself adjusting the floral arrangement on the coffee table, twisting it 90 degrees to the right, frowning, then twisting it back. He clenched his jaw, still dissatisfied. He shouldn't have gone with red. He'd thought the red scarlet roses looked vibrant and lively on the florist's website, but now that they'd been delivered, he realized they were the exact color of fresh blood. Blood. A jolt ran through him, making his spine stiffen and his hands shake. "Stop it," he muttered to himself, curling his hands into fists until the jittery feeling passed. He stared at the flowers, wishing he had gotten something more cheerful, something colored like daylight and happiness. Sunflowers, maybe, or daisies. Too late now. The donor from the blood matching agency was due any minute. The sun had set an hour ago, and he'd spent the entirety of that hour fidgeting around his house. God, he wished they'd get here already. The longer he waited, the worse his fangs ached and the higher the hunger rose inside him. He was old enough to control himself, but it'd be a more enjoyable experience if he didn't have to control himself. If he could just have a nice, luxurious drink without terrifying the donor. Amos hadn't had live blood in nearly a century. Not since he was a young vampire freshly turned. He'd spent a few decades living as a predator, taking victims indiscriminately. He wasn't proud of those days, but at least he hadn't been as bad as some. As far as he knew, he'd never killed any of his victims, just left them injured and traumatized. He clenched his fist again. The donor was a willing participant. They were getting paid. They knew what they were getting into. No harm was being done. The doorbell rang suddenly, and Amos nearly jumped out of his skin. He leapt up from the settee, smoothed his shirt, his pants, his hair, then hurried to the door, tripping over the rug on his way and then nearly knocking over a bookshelf as he righted himself. He took a second to breathe, to steady himself. The doorbell rang again. His fangs throbbed, saliva pooled in his mouth. He ran a shaking hand through his hair again and went to the door. Feeling as if he might snap the doorknob clean off, he somehow managed to open it smoothly. He put a polite, non-predatory smile on his face to greet his donor. But as the door swung open and his visitor was revealed in the soft glow of the porch light, his stomach dropped.